Hey everyone, so we have an exciting harvest today. We have some sugar snap peas that are ready to be harvested. So I'm gonna harvest these, and we have some broccolini back there that is also ready to be harvested. So we're gonna harvest these vegetables and then try to make stir fry to use these. So come along with me. I think these will be enough for the meal I'm making for now, and we have a lot more, so I will harvest those next time, I guess. But these should be enough for now. Now let's head over to broccolinis. So I actually planted broccoli, and we harvested a lot of broccoli from these planters, but the leftover plants sprouted a few new shoots, and now we have a few smaller broccolini heads. So I'm gonna harvest those, and we're gonna use those for stir fry. So yeah, I think that's enough for now. This is a lot of broccoli. I didn't think we had this much, but now let's go make stir fry out of these. Before we go, I also need a green onion for the stir fry. So yeah, this should be enough for now. So first we deshell most of the peas, and the smaller ones we are gonna leave as is. So our peas and broccoli are ready to be blanched now, and while we're at it, so now this is all the leftover greens and all the shells and everything. This is all going into our compost. So I'm gonna start with steaming the broccoli, and we'll cover it up for 4 minutes, and that should be enough to blanch this broccoli. Okay, so while my vegetables are blanching, I have some time, so I'm gonna use that time to prepare my beef. So it's been 4 minutes, and these broccoli are now blanched. So this will stop the cooking process, and they won't get all mushy. So the peas are also ready now. We're gonna take these out and put them in cold water as well. So while our vegetables dry, I'm gonna make the marinade for the beef, and I have here around 500 grams of beef. I'm gonna need half of it, but I'm gonna marinate the whole thing and then put half of it in the freezer. So in order to make the marinade, I need. By the way, I'll link the. I'll add the link to the recipe that I am following or somewhat following in the description if somebody needs to look at the actual recipe. So now we have marinated our beef. This is gonna, I'm gonna put it aside for half an hour and let it marinate, and then I'll take half of it out for cooking and half of it I'm gonna freeze for later. So while this marinates, one other thing we need is sauce for frying, stir fry sauce. So I'm gonna make that now. So my beef is now marinated and I am ready to cook. But before I start cooking, I wanna divide this into two halves and then store the one for later in the freezer. And then because I'm only gonna need to cook half of this. And one note on, I have become a really big fan of prepping your meals and storing them for later use, because this allows me to cook stuff in bulk, or if I have a weekend free, and then I can cook a bunch of things and prepare a bunch of things and put them in the freezer, and when we actually need to cook the meals, it takes a lot less effort. So for meat, it's really easy because you can actually marinate it before storing, so that you don't need to spend like time marinating beef at during weekdays or when you're having a really busy time. So I have these Ziploc bags here for storing beef. One easy way to get rid of all the air in there, not all but most of the air in there, is to use water. If you dip it in water, it sort of puts pressure inside and takes most of the air out, and so without any fancy equipment, you get a semi sealed bag where most of the air has gone out. So this we're gonna put in the freezer. Similar to this, I prepped this one. This is our one serving of vegetables. There are peas, corn and broccoli in there. This is one serving for me and my wife. So I basically make this size packages, like one serving for two people, and these I blanched last month and I prepped them and put them in the freezer. So similar thing I did with with beef. A few meals of beef I put in there as well. So whenever I get time and I am in the kitchen and doing this stuff, I try to prep a few extra meals and store them in the freezer. And we'll now cook all this prep stuff, and it will show you, like, the stir frying process in itself is really fast. So for example, next time I am making a stir fry, I'll take this out and put both of these in the wok, and I'll be ready to go. So having these prepared meals really speeds up and helps with the time you spend making meals. So this whole shelf is our frozen prepared vegetable mixes. I have a few just broccoli, a few just corn, just peas, and then I have a few mixes of these stir fry mixes like these, and the beef goes here as well. So the last thing I need to prepare for the stir fry before I'm ready to cook is the onion, and I'll use, I think, half an onion. I'll need half an onion for this. So I'm gonna just try to cook that, and green onion I'm gonna use to add some color to the dish and also to garnish it. So now we are ready to start cooking. Okay, this is piping hot now. The only tip I have for stir frying is basically to cook it in smaller portions and at very high heat. This prevents the meat from releasing too much moisture and becoming soggy, and keeps it nice and tender. It's a very simple trick, but it makes a big difference in texture as well as in flavor. By the way, I really want to share how much prepping meals and freezing them in advance has made my life easier. Um, I've only been doing it like for a month or so, but it's such a time saver. I like to prepare vegetable mixes, marinated beef and fish, and even prep burgers ahead of time. This way, when it comes to weekday dinners, it's just a matter of choosing and cooking without the hassle of like all the cuttings and marinating and all the waiting time. It's been a game changer for managing busy weekdays for me and my wife. I'll add the link to the original recipes where I learned this recipe from. So this was originally a beef and broccoli stir fry recipe, but I have been playing around with it and I add whatever vegetables I have available, or whichever vegetables like I feel like having at any point, or whichever vegetables I have available from my garden at any point. Yeah, I have been like mostly freestyling it, but the original recipe I can post the link to, and you can look up like exact instructions and the overall process there. By the way, if you have any time-saving kitchen hacks, especially for busy couples, please drop them in the comments below. It's great to learn from each other and make our lives a little easier. So our beef stir fry is ready. So we use broccoli, peas and green onions from our garden. So now let's give it a test. Amazing. The broccoli is not very mushy, and the crispy and firmness of the broccoli is still a bit there. Really good.